Welcome to Provocative Bite. Welcome to Provocative Bite.
Hi Provocative Biters, welcome back to my channel. For those who are new, my name is Poppy and this channel is a cooking channel based on the concept of use what you have. So since we're all at home right now, I wanted to encourage everybody to use what they have in their cupboards, their pantries, their fridges and their freezers. And for today's recipe, it's been a highly requested recipe between my friends and I've been asked to show how to make dumplings. I have such a love for dumplings. I used to live in Hong Kong and I used to have dim sum every single weekend. And dim sum is this just amazing, I guess you can call it Asian version of a tapas. Sharing with my family and just trying different types of little dumplings or little fish, meat, vegetable dishes, just all tasty and so great with a lot of tea. Dumplings to me is a great comfort food and it's just a perfect parcel for just an explosion of juicy, amazing tastiness. In this video, I've got a meat version and I've also got a vegetarian / vegan friendly version. The only thing is it's not gluten-free. And I think the only way to make really good dumplings, because we're gonna do this all from scratch, is to use a gluten flour, so the white flour. It just gives a chewy texture. For all my gluten-free people out there, sadly this is not a gluten-free recipe, but the dumpling fillings that I am showing you how to do, I think you could still use them. You'll see what I mean when I later explain in the video. So the other day I did an online dumpling lesson with my friend Emma. She's in Copenhagen and just one day she asked me, could you show me how to make dumplings? So we made really good fun of it. We just chatted as we normally do. And I just watched her make dumplings and I just told her what to do. And honestly, it just made us feel very connected. And we were laughing and smiling and just having so much fun. And at the end, Emma got to eat really nice dumplings and she did an amazing job. The pictures of it is just, oh, to die for. Also the other day, my friend Monica, she asked me for the dumpling recipe for her and her son Hector to learn how to make together. And she sent me the pictures and they were just amazing. So for me, I feel like dumplings really do create happiness. I know food does in general, but dumplings in particular, they're one of the happiness foods. They're a great parcel of comfort. They're a lot of fun to make and they're a great activity to do with friends and family. And also if you have little ones, I think it's a lot of fun to just make the dumplings together. It's great. Since we are making this from scratch, I think the satisfaction of the end product is really a joyful feeling.
These are the ingredients, the vegetarian and also the meat version with the dumpling flour, and I'll go through that with you.
For the dumpling, for the meat version, usually you use pork. You can use ground chicken, but since it's the use what you have, I could only find minced beef. It's not always common, but I did use it for this recipe, which is fine. You also want garlic, spring onions. If you don't have spring onions, you could use white onions or yellow onions, however you like to call them. But I do suggest spring onions if you have it. You need white pepper, fresh ginger. And for your sauces, the main sauces that you should have is light soy. The one that I have is a mushroom soy, but you can use any soy you want. You need oyster sauce and you need sesame oil.
There's a vegan option to oyster sauce and I've just put it in the video just so you can see. And also these are all the sauces and the last two in the end is the black vinegar and the Shaoxing wine, which is optional if you have it, but I've also added it in my dumplings. It's not needed. This is the vegetarian vegan option. I put mushrooms, cabbage, carrots, spring onions, tofu, garlic, and ginger, but you can add whatever vegetables that you please.
So when making the dough, you want to make sure that you do 2 parts flour to 1 part water. So what do I mean by that? So for example, you could do 200 grams of flour to 100 grams of water.
For easy measure, you can just use a standard cup, so whichever size that you prefer. And this one I did 2 parts flour to 1 part water. So it's easier for you to measure if you don't have a measuring cup. With the flour, you add half a teaspoon of salt and you mix the dry ingredients together.
So when you're about to stir in your water with your flour, you just gradually add in the hot water with your chopsticks or whatever, your spoon or whatever you decide to stir with. This is pretty hot, so just watch out for your fingers. Slowly add in about 3/4 of the amount of water that you want to use, as it might be the case that you don't need to use all of it. Build your dough. When you're building it up, make sure you have no more flour bits in the end. And you want to have these type of flakes that build up when you're stirring in the water. Once all the floury bits go, that's when you know you can incorporate it. Now, if you like to feel hot things, you just need to go right into it. If you don't feel comfortable, you can use a glove, but personally for me, I just like to get my hands right in, and the heat only lasts for about 10 seconds. So really watch it. Put your hands in first. If it's too hot, find some gloves and keep kneading it. Within the next 1 to 2 minutes, not even, the whole entire dough is gonna feel very nice and cool, and you can continue on just using your hands.
As I'm kneading the dough, I can feel that it's about ready. So I form it into a ball and then I'm ready to do a spring test. So the ball should be nice and smooth when I'm doing the spring test, and when it springs back to me with my finger pressing on it, then I know it's ready to rest for 30 minutes. I've put a damp tea towel, or you can use cling film. So 30 minutes at room temperature. Now I'm ready to make my meat filling. Right now I'm peeling the ginger with a teaspoon, which, did you know you could do that? And I need to finely chop my ginger. So all the ingredients have to be very fine because they will steam within the dumpling and they need to be able to cook evenly. So that's my ginger prepared, and now I'm ready to finely chop my spring onion, which is pretty huge from where I am. I'm keeping the green part for the garnish, which you'll later see why. And now I'm just ready to completely and utterly dice the hell out of it. And there we go. And I have my plate prepared. And this is now my garlic. This is an easier way of peeling garlic, if any of you wanted to know. You just bash your knife on top and you can get your garlic peeled really easily. And it's ready to be minced. You can do it with your knife, but I just used my mince crusher. And now I've got my beef. I'm incorporating all of my ingredients. I used about 2 tablespoons of soy sauce, light soy sauce, 1 tablespoon of oyster sauce, and about 1 tablespoon of sesame oil. So that is pretty tasty. Now I'm adding 3 pinches of white pepper, ground white pepper, some sugar, just to balance it out, about half a tablespoon, and I'm kneading it all together. And I've added Shaoxing wine, but that's because I have it. You don't need to add it. And I've added it together, the meat, until it's fully incorporated and turned to a paste. And it has to be paste so it can stay very nice and stuck together within the dumpling. To taste the filling, heat a pan and add about a teaspoon of the filling. And if you need any more seasoning, you'll know after this. So if you need more salt, more soy sauce, more sugar, and so on and so forth. Your tongue is the measure of the seasoning as well. I'm very much an advocate for that. So we now move on to the vegetarian filling or the vegan filling. I start with the carrot, which I'm gonna finely dice. And later on, this is the only ingredient that I'm gonna pre-cook, because carrots take much longer to cook and it's harder for it to steam inside the dumpling. So I'm just finely slicing this again, so it's just faster to cook and it's also nicer to eat when it's in the filling. Next, I'm dicing up my spring onions, also into very, very small pieces, and same with my cabbage. I'm dicing to very small pieces. And I'm ready for my mushrooms. And again, it's being diced into small pieces, so it's easier to steam within the dumpling. As I said, I'm pre-cooking my carrot and leaving it to cool. I'm ready to mix my vegetarian filling. So this is the firm tofu, and I'm breaking it up with my hands. And this again needs to be in small pieces, so it cooks well in the dumpling when it steams. And it's ready for the rest of the ingredients. So now I'm adding in my chopped up cabbage that I've done before, my spring onions and my mushrooms. That's falling everywhere. And then my garlic and my fresh ginger. Oh, garlic and fresh ginger really adds a punch. And I've added 2.5 tablespoons of light soy. This is my vegan oyster sauce, which is made out of mushrooms. You don't need that. If you don't have it, then forget about it. It's fine. You could use hoisin sauce if you have it in your pantry. Again, you don't need it. Then you've got sugar and ground white pepper, and now I'm mixing it. What I did forget to put in is sesame oil, but it still tasted really good. So I'm just mixing it until it sticks together, and I'm giving it a good taste. Now that my carrots have cooled down, I'm also adding that in. It's so pretty. Now I'm ready to roll out my dumpling wrappers. I've got a cookie cutter and a rolling pin that's ready for 2 ways of rolling out my dumpling wrappers. And also I've got corn flour to help me not have my dough stick to the surface. So now I'm just portioning out the dough, one to show you step 1 of how you can do it with a rolling pin. And I'm rolling out the dough into a sausage and cutting them about 1 to 2 centimeter pieces, ready to do the rolling pin method. And I need to have a plate ready with corn flour so it's ready to receive the dumpling wrappers.
Those who want to learn how, if they have a small rolling pin, to roll out, depending which one's your dominant hand, my dominant hand is my right hand, which will be my rolling hand. I put my hand at the edge of the rolling pin, and my other hand has the dough. So once I flattened out the dough piece, I will just slowly use my left hand to rotate the dough around. So once I do one roll, I rotate. Another roll, I rotate, and so on and so forth. And whilst you're doing that, it starts to flatten out into a nice circle. Mine aren't perfectly circle, but if you can get to a circular consistency, that's great. Make sure once you finish with the dumpling wrappers that you dust corn flour on them. So it just helps your wrappers not stick together. The other way of doing it is you can use a normal rolling pin and roll out your dough to 2 millimeter thickness. If you don't have a rolling pin, you can use a wine bottle. And once you do that, you can use a cookie cutter to cut out your circles. So you want the diameter of your circle to be at least about 10 to 12 centimeters in diameter. Anything bigger than that just means you're gonna have bigger dumplings. So it depends how big you want them. If you want them massive, then go for it. So the filling stage and the pleating stage, that's the bit that gets to everyone. There's different ways of actually bringing together your dumpling wrapper and your filling. You can do the pleats that I'll show you how to do. I myself am still learning to be a great pleatist, that's what I call it, but I'm still getting there. I'm not as great as the old mamas that do it, but hopefully at some point I will get there.
I'm ready to fill my dumplings, so I'll show you the pleating method. So I put about a tablespoon of the filling onto the wrapper. You'll get a feel of this on your own as well, about how much to put in. It's kind of like pancakes. The first couple are dodgy, but afterwards you'll feel it. And then I'll use a bit of water to help seal my dumpling, and don't put too much or else your wrapper is going to get very soggy. So now I'm pinching the side of my dumpling and using my thumb to help fold. And then my index finger on my right hand side is pressing down and pinching. See, I'm folding, thumb and pinching and folding and closing, and there we go. I'm gonna do it again. I know it's kind of tricky, so let's have a look again. I'm filling it up again, and this does take some practice, so really just have fun with it instead of giving yourself a hard time. You see I'm starting to pinch, using my thumb and my index to help. And there we go. And I'm folding it a bit slightly to make it a half moon shape. And there we go. That's the dumpling finished and pleated.
You could also just do a half moon shape where you just turn it over and just seal it up. And the most important thing to remember is when you're sealing it, make sure there's no air pockets inside and make sure it's tightly sealed. Air pockets inside will cause it to explode, and if it's not tightly sealed, if you're boiling them or even frying them, all the natural juices from inside will come out, all the water from your boiling will come in, and it's just gonna be a whole lot of mess. So we don't want that.
So the cooking method I've chosen to do is the pot sticker method. I'm just heating up my pan with a bit of oil, so flavorless oil. And when my oil gets hot, I'm placing the dumplings on, and make sure they're not touching because they will stick together. So I'm putting it apart and just distributing the oil, and I'm waiting for the bottom of the pot sticker or the dumpling to become brown. A nice type of golden brown, as you can see. And that's when I know I'm ready to put in the water, and the water causes the vapor. This actually steams for about 5 to 7 minutes. I would say cut one after 5 or 7 minutes, and if it needs further cooking, give it another few minutes. They go really, really fast. For the dumpling sauce, I'm doing half vinegar and half light soy, and that's it. Super easy. And I'm ready to plate. You can use any sauce you want to, sriracha sauce, or even my friend did balsamic, and you garnish it with the sliced green onion part, the spring onion part that you kept, and you can do it with sesame seeds. I mean, that's what I use to make it look pretty. But you can use whatever you want. And I just wanted to show you guys what it looks like inside. So that's the meat version. It's really nice and juicy, and this is the vegetarian one. It was so good.
So that's it of the dumplings. I really hope you guys enjoyed that. If you have tried it, let me know in the comments, or you can also send me a picture and tag me on Instagram at Provocative Bites. If you guys have any more questions, you can always DM me on Instagram if you want to, or you can leave it in the comments. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and press the notification bells for more videos. I'm gonna come up with a whole load more, so if there's any more suggestions or anything else that you guys wanna see, don't forget to contact me. All right guys, stay home, stay safe, and keep cooking. Bye!